Very good.
Yeah, feels like I'm hitting a draw.
Perfect.
A lot of my students in this situation, 20 meters to the pin, they tend to have their ball way too far back and have the handle forward like this.
Right.
And then they will just chop it down.
Gotcha.
And they expect the ball to fly high and stop quickly.
Right.
So let me just show you how they do it.
Sure.
It's like this, like that. Yeah. So.
And even if they land the ball on the green, because I'm assuming they probably can figure out to get the ball to land there.
Right. Even if they landed, the
like
ball
that.
will just fly hard.
Got you. Comes off pretty aggressively.
Right. So what's the thing that you would fix in their chipping technique?
So when I'm working with students in the short game, I would often define different shots around the green, just so when they're positioned, let's say nearer the green, they might have a couple of options. It could be a basic chip and run, maybe with a less lofted club, for example. They might use their sand iron if they want the ball to come in a little bit softer.
Right.
The first thing I would tend to do is not take anything away from the student. I try and explain what that shot is going to produce.
Right.
And if and when that actually might be a shot. So in that particular case, when you have the ball shaft lean, that's going to create the fastest ball speed for probably the shortest swing.
Right.
The ball's going to come off very, very hot. It's going to come in very flat.
Right.
The land angle's extremely low. And you know, first kick, second kick, third kick before it probably takes any spin. And obviously with a tuck pin like this, it's not a functional shot. That shot may work in an extreme lie situation where the ball's maybe in a divot, and they've got enough space to roll the ball up the green. And also I'll tell them they might hit that shot 1 in 20 rounds, and understand when they have the ball that far back with that much shaft lean, what's it going to produce. Depending on the student, I might tell them, what would you do to hit the ball higher? I said, you've got a sort of 58 degree that you're currently using maybe like a 9 iron.
Right.
Yeah. You're de-lofting it down to, let's say, 43 degrees, something like that. And then I'd ask them, what would that look like with the right amount of loft? How does it normally sit? So I'll just start with that question. And then I might tell them, if we were going to play the ball higher, where would we position the ball? So I would start off with some suggestive coaching. So I will take them through that. That process might take 5 minutes, it might take 10 minutes. Often, surprisingly enough, the student gets into the setup that I want them to just by asking the right questions. Now, functionally, they may still do something that creates too much of a sharp. I would then explain to them maybe a little bit of my preference, or what would it look like if we went with, say, 0 wrists versus they're fully loaded at a 5 versus what might a 2 look like. So when I'm looking at a shot like this, we know that we definitely don't want ball back, handle forward, weight too far forward, max wrist, because it's every component is steep, and taking loft off the club. So we're trying to find a balance between, you know, not playing a flop shot, but what would a stock shot look like? So that might be one ball inside left heel. That's about where we'd stop. The handle is going to be very neutral. And I'd say the weight's only just favoring the left side. What would it look like with 0 wrist action and 0 right arm fold? And you can just make a practice swing.
Like that.
Good. Yeah, back and through. Good. So I might even get them to start with that if I actually thought that that was what they needed. So I might say, let's start with that. You might have to add a little bit more speed to that motion to get it there, but that's where I'd start. If I wanted to add, let's say, one more notch to speed, I might tell them, okay, let the wrist move into like gear one with that sort of arm swing. Certainly I'm not looking for really tight stretched arms, but for someone that might hold up and get super narrow, that might be a really good opposite end of the spectrum way to teach them.
So instead of that.
How does that feel compared to how you'd usually play the shot? Is that pretty normal, or does it feel more forward than
for
normal?
me it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but usually people will just
You'll be there.
be there. The ball has to be here when they
Right off the back foot.
when they do inside 20 meters. So 10 meters, 5 meters, doesn't matter the distance. Inside 20 meters, the ball has to be here. That's how they believe it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you would tend to see sometimes some sticky actions where the club leading edge gets kind of stuck.
Yes.
And sometimes some duff shots or
Use the bounce. Even if they hit it a bit behind the ball, it will still travel through the ball, and the shot wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. And maybe growing up a little bit in firmer conditions in Australia, you can get away sometimes with a little steeper action because the grass can be mostly down grain or it's very nicely manicured, so you can kind of thump the ground. I had a really hard time when I first came over to Malaysia because the ground was a lot softer. And when some of my like aggressive passes didn't quite get the ball first, I'd start getting some pretty heavy chunks. So I had to kind of learn to balance out the shallow and steep component. I would define your technique as slightly on the steeper side of the spectrum. A little bit because of the swing direction. One thing I might do with you, let's get you set up here. I might set this shaft in here, just outside the ball target line. And I actually want you to arc the club a little bit inside that.
Just
inside it.
Like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think this will feel very different to you.
Yes. Because I usually take it outside that way.
I want you to do a couple of things. Square yourself off just a few degrees to the right. Have the ball, I was going to say move the ball back like half a ball. And maybe a smidge closer to the ball, so you feel like you're a bit taller. Good. And now your only goal is to arc. I'll move this just a touch more away from you. But I want you to arc the club inside that.
No wrist, just
quite passive.
Feels like I'm.
So you're going to hit it, right?
Yeah.
Both ways, inside both ways.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
How was that?
That was perfect.
What did you notice when that ball came off?
Just
direction-wise.
A bit straighter to the pin, and also much lower, but with a lot of spin.
Yeah. When you hit your one before, how would you describe that one?
With the first one that I hit was more of a out to in.
So is that intentional?
It's just something that I would do normally in this situation.
And when the ball landed on the green, what did it do before?
It spun to the right.
Good. So when I'm working with any level player, I'm trying to get a better baseline. So what's the most vanilla type of technique that I can get that's super functional?
Right.
And I would describe that last shot as very in line with the direction of the swing. It came out dead straight, had a little flatter trajectory, only because of the fact you didn't wipe across it with as much of an open face. And it had a boatload of spin on it. Obviously clipped it very nicely. That to me would be a really good stock shot.
Yeah, that was perfect.
We can then, if we wanted to, mess around with ball position and face, backwards or forward, if we wanted to flatten it out or maybe soften it off a little bit.
So basically, you don't really have to have open stance or out-in plane to actually hit a spinny,
no, not at all,
little chip shot.
Not at all.
No.
It's all about delivering the right spin loft, really getting it low on the groove as much as possible. You know, that second groove is a good one if we can catch it. And it does help when you're on a good quality lie like this, good quality golf ball, obviously equipment, all that sort of stuff. And just not doing anything that, let's say, is really a long way out of norm, you know, such as wiping across the ball as much. Doing that.
More of that.
Okay, let's get that ball back one. Yeah.
Back one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right.
Because I've shifted your aim, the ball would also shift a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because I've shifted
All right.
your.
Now I kind of get
So
the hang of it.
You actually haven't got the ball too far back. It just feels that way.
All right.
I don't mind your left foot pulled back.
Yep.
As long as you're not sort of getting over here too much.
All right.
Yeah. You're quite okay with your left foot pulled back. Just use that shaft there.
All right. Nice. It's a lot. Feels a lot more rounded, like
Through or back?
back and through.
Yeah.
Instead of really coming,
That way.
out to in, sort of even through the ball, not down through the ball.
Good.
Yeah.
Swing, just put the club in front of the ball for me. Yeah, and get into your setup.
Yep.
And just pivot through to about here. You pivot through to about waist high. Without doing a backswing even. Yeah.
So through.
Yeah, just go through. Very good. Okay. So this is a pretty good end point for you for this shot. Pretty good checkpoint for the end. So generally you don't need it to pull in more than that.
Right.
Something like that there. It's still, clubs still come in to some amount, but not a crazy amount. Yeah.
Okay.
So it may even feel like the swing's working a little bit more in to out.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
exactly.
way.
That's how it feels like.
Okay, let's have a look at that.
Just like that.
Very good.
Yeah. Feels like I'm hitting a draw.
Perfect. And it was interesting that you said that. So early on I was talking a bit about suggestive coaching, which is a style where you would give the student, you would give them options and get them to understand or question them on if they did X, what would that do? If they did Y, what would that do? Et cetera, to a point where they actually got into a functional setup.
Right.
And I could do that all the way through. Before I sort of put the shafts there, I was actually going to tell you, show me what a draw pitch would look like.
Right.
Because that's kind of the feeling that I want to, that you actually need here.
Oh, okay.
Because you're a little wipey,
Right.
as in a little bit out to in.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, perfect. That's exactly what you should feel.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're doing it.
Right.
It's
Just
what you
feel.
Yeah.
Right. Still plenty of spin on it.
Well, lots of spin, yeah.
Yeah, lots of spin.
Your spins, again, it's not the cut action that creates necessarily spin. It's your ability to, pinch the golf ball against the lower part of the club.
Yep.
Create enough shaft lean.
When you say low part of the club, where do you actually mean?
So groove 2, 2.5, right in there. Yeah, right in there.
Right
so
in
they've
there.
got groove 1, groove 2, so right in the middle if you could strike it right
Okay.
there. Have you ever hit pitch shots or bunker shots off with a small tee?
Oh, no.
Do you know what it does?
No.
What it does is it takes away the element of the ball sitting on the ground. It's way easier to hit it low on the face, and usually you can up the RPMs by a couple of thousand.
Oh, okay.
Just spin it more. And there's no contact with grass. You're getting the maximum amount of friction on ball to face, which creates the maximum amount of spin.
Okay.
So that's often a good drill that you'll give to someone who's like super steep. How do we create almost like a putting stroke sense through the ball, where it's ball staying very level to the ground with a reasonable amount of shaft lean or D-loft to make the ball come out low and spinny. Maybe 2 or 3 more in this setup, 1 or 2 with a small tee, and then I'm just going to show you how to soften off that ball flight.
Okay.
So when it lands, after the first bounce, it like stops fast. It doesn't have that slight kick and then stop.
Okay.
Good one?
Yep.
And then we'll try one with a tee. Where does the ball position feel, by the way?
Feels way back.
Okay, it's interesting. I want you to try and take out a little bit more wrist going back.
Okay, so more neutral.
Yeah, you just feel like you're going to arc the club with your body and then through. Good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Let's have a look at that again. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Try a couple. You got a golf tee in your bag?
Yep.
Yep. I'm just going to tee the ball up, just like that. You just play it normal with a little bit of intention to just clip the ball, not get too low into the ground.
All right.
There we go. Hear the sound on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So it does sound good, yeah. Well, the tee again just takes away that little bit of potential contact with the grass. This is probably the easiest grass to spin it off, like tight lies.
Yep. Right.
Not much grain there, so it's easy to kind of get through.
Wow. So wow, I'm learning a lot.
Oh, okay.
Not open face.
Yeah, let's go with the open face now. And literally all we're doing here to create that high shot would be, you know, open the face a few degrees, move the ball forward, and then it's the energy that you're looking for to carry it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder. I mean, can be a good shot, but to execute,
Right.
it takes a lot more stress, sort of like.
It's harder.
Yeah.
The open face.
Yeah, it's a harder shot.
You
but
still arc the club the same. You still went inside here, right?
oh no, I went outside. I think.
You got to go inside.
Okay. All right. All right. Got it.
But I'll move the ball.
All right. So, still arc.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I still want you arcing the club.
Okay. Yeah. As soon as I arc the club,
Yeah.
the start line is just dead straight.
Not pulling across it there.
So if I went outside, the ball starts left.
Yeah.
If I arc, the ball starts right at the pin.
And there's still enough, you know, down and across going on there. Yeah, if I was going to work you a little harder,
Wow.
put another ball here.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this might, if you can commit to it, it's not an easy thing for you, I know, but if you can commit to keeping the club under that,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Wow.
And I'll set you up so it makes it slightly easier. I'm going to close off the stance a little bit.
Okay.
So that's, yes, good.
that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That'll help.
It's a lot easier to take it this
Yeah.
way, but it feels like I'm gonna hit it there.
See what happens. So this is now getting into a proper little kind of hook mode or draw mode.
Wow.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah. And that won't look as crazy as it feels. I'd even argue it's just right. It's right up and down the line.
Right.
You're just very much on this side of the spectrum. Let's say -10 was really extreme.
Right.
You're probably at like a 6 or 7 at the start. And that's actually 0. Right there is 0.
Right there.
Yeah. And it's producing actually a pretty straight, high, soft shot.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can go and play with that tomorrow, but for understanding,
Practice,
it's good. If I work with you long term, I would get you to do that and potentially play with that.
Okay. All right.
Because that to me is just neutralizing everything. And even though it feels like you're drawing it, it's actually a really straight shot.
Right. Wow.
So ball forward 1, just because we want to add a little bit more, even a little more forward than that. Yep. And open the face a touch more. So we're playing this a little higher and softer intentionally with that same arc.
That I just couldn't commit to it. Yes.
But you can generally see how it comes in a little softer, the
Yes.
ball speed's a bit less, maybe slightly higher,
Right.
one bounce with more
Yep.
grab. Yeah, which is really what we would expect.
Right.
Most golfers don't know what's going to happen before they set up. They're doing whatever and the ball's
Right.
coming out. And when you're setting up like that, there's a prediction that I would make based on how you set up and how I know you swing, what the ball would do. It should come in higher, it should come in straighter.
Right.
You feel like you're hitting a hook draw and it's really just a straight high soft shot. Just like when I was watching
Wow.
you earlier, I would expect the ball to be almost popping off the face because it's a little steep and it's harder to hit. Unless the reel lies really tight, it's harder to consistently hit low on the face. So you get a lot of balls that kind of slide up the face and they pop up.
Yep.
So they get these high, almost like cutty looking shots.
Yep.
So then I'm sort of sneaking you back to what I would call a more middle ground.
All right. Yep.
And then we'd practice on that baseline and try and like keep you there.
Nice. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Wow.
That's good.
I'm shocked a little bit.
You are?
Yeah. Trying to hit a draw in my chipping technique. Wow. Never thought about that.
Okay, that's good.
All right. Cool.
Good.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Good.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Good.
Yeah. It's perfect. Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
구독, 좋아요, 감사합니다.